You look at the Justin Bieber video just to talk about it, and Justin Bieber is just a 15-year-old kid. He goes, I only got Justin for about 48 hours, but we're gonna make something happen. He's mine for 48 hours.
They flipped that poor boy inside out.
Yeah.
No Diddy.
No Diddy.
Carlos Reyes on the humble show. Yeah, we all in, we all in. So grab your boys now, cause you know we all win. Lift your hands up and give them praise. Blessed every day, full of grace. Yeah, we all in, we all.
Welcome to the All In Podcast. I am your host, Carlos Reyes. To my right, I got the most interesting man in the industry, Mr. Zady. To my center here, I got my business partner in the solar space, Mr. Phil LeConte. And to my left, I got Mr. Garret Jors. And to my other left here, I got Adrian Salgado, a.k.a. Born Closer. Gentlemen, we are very excited about today's show.
The world is in a topsy-turvy right now.
Man,
Choose a side.
Yes.
Hey, isn't it a great time to be alive?
Oh, yes, it is.
We are living, right? We're living in times where spiritual warfare is happening, and it's peaking right now. 2024 is peaking. It is the year of the light, right? I'm so excited. My adrenaline is going nuts. I can literally feel it down to my plums. Right? So why don't we just start it off with the banger? Puff Daddy.
Sorry.
Puff Daddy, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. Diddy, a.k.a. Sean Combs, a.k.a.
Take that.
Brother Love.
Yeah.
Right? All three houses, all three of his houses were raided this week, actually. And,
Simultaneously, right?
Yeah, at the same time.
That's
by
enough that
the Department
evidence.
of Homeland Security, specifically the investigations unit.
Yeah.
And the last time that Diddy, a.k.a. Brother Love, was seen was allegedly he fled the country in his private jet, Love Air. And it was last seen landing in an island in the Caribbean that goes by the name of Antigua.
Non-extradition country?
What do you guys think is going on, man? This is nuts.
Well, was he in the plane? Because I've heard talks that he was not in the plane, but he was registered as that he was on the plane.
Well, I think he was detained at the airport while that stuff was happening, but there was something on the plane. And I think that if you study how powerful and how interconnected Diddy is, I think that my perception is that my opinion,
There might have been a phone call made.
Yeah.
there might have been a phone call,
There's
and
a tip.
if I know that people are coming to raid, I'm putting all the evidence that I have, and I'm sending it to whatever safe place I've decided it needs to
That
go
is a
to.
great point. And you know what? A few days ago, I don't know if it was happening while the raid was taking place, but they arrested what is alleged, or who is alleged, his drug mule, Brendan Paul.
Yeah.
Right? This is the guy that used to do his his errands and go get, drugs and whatever was needed to throw what some people in Hollywood or in the celebrity world called freak-offs. The Diddy freak-offs that's been going on for decades.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Freak on.
Well, and if you have that, that's what you would want to keep safe, all the evidence from all the freak offs.
Well, here, let's talk about that.
I'm gonna take anything that's gonna keep me from being unalived.
Yes.
Well, listen, apparently, Brother Love, aka Diddy, he had hidden cameras throughout all of his residences. And apparently or allegedly, he has dirt on celebrities, politicians, athletes, executives, royalty, right? And a lot of the stuff that was going down at these freak-offs included drugs, alcohol, minors, and prostitutes.
Disgusting.
This has been a beautiful awakening of truth. You don't have to believe it, but you got to go just search for it.
Yeah.
It's all over the internet now. And if we want to, we could dive into the lawsuit, because I think that most people haven't read the lawsuit. I say 99% of people haven't read it. So for those who are listening on Spotify or Apple Music, I just want to sum it up for you to make it very simple. Little Rod, aka Mr. Jones,
Rodney Jones,
somebody that he hired on to make, I think, one album with, He was with him from 2022, probably end of 2023,
He made the last album, the Love album.
the Love album.
Yes.
And Rodney, I guess what triggered it was he woke up in bed after being drugged with Diddy and a few other associates, and he didn't know what happened. And then he also got to film and witness many things that were not aware in the public. So he decided to bring everything to light and shed light on it. And throughout the entire thing, it shows where G, I think is another black male that was at Sean Diddy's home, was shot. It shows in the bathroom, or I guess as he says, Diddy and his son was walking out the bathroom. G's on the ground in a fetal position, holding his gut that just got shot at and his leg, and there's blood all over the scenes. You want to pull up the actual footage on the lawsuit for me, Matt, so people can see it.
Oh,
so
wow.
there's blood all over the bathroom, and when he called his guy, who is his go-to when it comes to cleaning up his messes, the news article said that there was a shooting outside of his home, when clearly it was not outside of his home.
Yeah.
So what's beautiful about this is that now they got even deeper. And in the lawsuit, if you scroll down some more, he also talks about how he holds all the stuff from other people that does stuff in his home. One of them was go down some more. It was go down. Yes, right here. Right here. Stevie J.
Wow.
Stevie J
These
having
pictures are
sex with
damn, Stevie?
Stevie J having sex with a white male, and it says in this lawsuit,
Wait, with a
without
white
condom.
male?
White
Yes.
male.
Oh, that's a male?
Yeah, that's a man titty.
White male. You scroll down some more. There's more pictures. There's
Wow.
more pictures.
How are there pictures in a lawsuit?
So,
Bro,
so he has all
oh.
this footage on his phone, and now this is coming to light. So it didn't have to be us speculating. This is just what the facts are laid out
This
as.
seems to be hard evidence.
Correct.
Well,
it
Unless
goes.
my eyes are lying to me.
It goes deep, right? This is just one of the incidents. Matt, pull up the Rolling Stones article.
Oh,
for
that's
me.
what I was gonna be actually as you're about to talk about that, right? This dude has like 3 decades.
He has a track record.
Yeah, like 3 decades of being in legal troubles, and you got to ask yourself, is he protected?
Mm.
Yeah.
Right? Is
Obviously.
he protected? 3 decades, bro?
Yeah.
And you're not you don't go to jail, and you're constantly violating
Mm-hmm.
laws, and you're jumping back and forth that thin line, and you don't go to prison.
Correct.
3 decades. We're talking over 30 years.
When you make enough money, you can hire fall guys for you. Basically, Shine, the
Oof.
whole Shine thing
Yeah,
was he took the fall for him,
yeah.
right?
Well, allegedly.
Allegedly,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, when you have that kind of power, which this is what it seems to be, Diddy's kind of obsessed. He's a narcissist. He's obsessed with power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before you go down that track record that
Mhm.
starts 1991.
Yep.
Is he protected because allegedly Diddy is a Freemason? That's right. He is a brother of the Masonic Oath of the Lodge, right? And allegedly, there's been a lot of FBI agents that are Freemasons, including former FBI director J. Edgar Hoover. He received what's called the Masonic Grand Lodge Medal for Distinguished Achievement. We're talking about the director of the FBI allegedly being a Freemason also.
Wow.
So you want to talk about being connected.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're connected to the director of the FBI,
Maybe that's why you weren't at your house when they were getting raided.
wow.
But your sons were.
So when you go through this, and what I'll say before we even get into it is we are in spiritual warfare, and you are either on one side or the other, right? There's no
Oof.
lukewarm. You're either hot or cold.
Can I, real
Yeah.
quick? Ooh.
So there is no lukewarm. You're either hot or cold. And so if you scroll down, Matt, we'll go through kind of just the article itself. And so, nope, go down a little bit more.
And they say, by the way, they say that if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the
Problem. So you could see 1991. We'll go through these pretty quick, but you could see CCNY. This was a basketball game that they hosted where I believe 9 people died, 29 people injured. You have the Jake Robles shooting in 1995. You have attacking Steve Sout in 1998. You have Club New York shooting. That was a really big deal
that's
in
the one with
99.
Shine.
Yeah, J-Lo was
Yep.
with him at the
That's
time.
the one with Shine.
So that was the one that you brought up. You have the scuffle with J. Cole in 2013. That was swept under the
They
rug
said he
pretty
slapped
quickly.
him, right?
Yeah, it was like behind the scenes, and that was allegedly, right?
Yeah.
Allegedly punches Drake in 2014. Fights UCLA coach 2015.
Bro, he's fighting a coach?
Alleges Gina Hune, hopefully I said that right. Alleges abuse 2019. Cassie obviously filed the suit.
Oh, that was the
against in
24-hour
2023.
payout.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of allegations. A lot
Jane
of
Doe sues
allegations.
for 1991 rape and revenge porn. Diddy faces third sexual assault suit. So, and then third Jane Doe files lawsuit. But you know what you're looking at is you're looking at a man that's hyper powerful,
Wow.
has plenty of resources. We're looking at the Epstein of the hip hop industry, but let's go a little bit deeper. What do we know influences the youth of today's age? We know that it's media, music. So if you have someone, the powers that be, and you need someone to control your narrative, wouldn't you want someone like Diddy to actually facilitate all these things for you?
At what price?
Oh, well, it's the price of his
It
soul.
costs is even deeper than that.
Protect your
He used to
cornhole,
take
bud.
on, when he used to take on artists, Diddy would take on artists, and he would change her last name to his last name. And to dive into something
Wow.
deeply spiritual,
Wow.
you think about a baby, right? The word, let's break down the word. I like etymologies. The word baby. Bay is a body of water, and bee is what? An insect that produces honey. We're known as humans to have our spirit be the golden elixir, right? That honey
Ooh.
that exists in us.
Mm.
So a lot of times these lizard people or these dark forces of the world that reside in other people's vessels, they like to, believe it or not, they like to consume the aura of youth that are glowing, right? That's why they call it the natural born star. So when you're a natural born star, everybody either wants to touch you, be around you, be affiliated with you.
Mm.
And I think that a lot of times we're not looking at deep into what's really happening. I think there's something that we don't understand that could be Masonic, that could be demonic, where he takes either Justin Bieber into his home or any other people.
Usher.
Started
Usher,
with Usher.
right? They go to Diddy camp. That's what they call it. Diddy
Orlando
camp.
Brown.
Yeah, Orlando Brown, who's been speaking about this for a while.
The ooshwash, ooshwash.
Usher was actually on Howard Stern, and I believe it's like at the end of the interview, and he goes, "Would you allow any of your children to go and be a part of that?" And he said, "Absolutely not."
Oh my God.
Right? This is
said
somebody
no.
that was in it. You look at the Justin Bieber video just to talk about it, and Justin Bieber is just a 15-year-old kid. He goes, I only got Justin for about 48 hours, but we're gonna make something happen in 40. He's mine for 48
Damn,
hours.
they flipped that poor boy inside
Oh,
out.
yeah.
No Diddy.
No.
Ooh.
Wow.
But there is something going around that I would love for us to watch is what is the relationship with Diddy and Meek Mill?
Well,
Oh my God.
real quick, Meek Mill.
Cover your ears.
That might be
kids.
one of the dudes that either he groomed or he allegedly sexually assaulted. But you know, Meek Mill is probably one of the many that kept his mouth shut, right? Because you know, in this case, closed mouths get fed, right?
Yes.
Ooh. Why don't we play that whole audio, that disturbing audio that was going
Allegedly.
around the internet?
Kids, cover your ears.
Allegedly, this was Diddy going to town, clapping Meek Mill's cheeks during, I don't know, some type of some type of gathering, right? This is P. Diddy clapping Meek Mill's cheeks. So if you want to play that real quick.
Allegedly. I mean, it sounds like me. It
does sound
sounds like
Wow, bro. You want to talk about dreams and nightmares all at the same time, right? No pun intended.
Haters,
No.
rest in peace to my booty hole. That's what he's
Well,
saying.
the reason I say that, right? That's how I came across Meek Mill was, you know, that very popular song, Dreams and Nightmares. I mean, at the same time, while allegedly he's getting his cheeks slapped, his dream's about to come true. But man, a man's nightmare is also coming true also.
Well,
You
yeah.
know?
At the cost of a
At
nightmare.
what cost? Like what cost does it come with to become so popular to have to give up your manhood? And I think that's what happens in the industry is that a lot of these young adolescents, they want to be the rising star and they don't know what it comes with. Another analogy I had is when a young girl desires to be a princess or a queen, and if you're like someone like Megan, who gets the position of being a princess,
The
you realize
Stallion?
no, Megan
Markle.
with Prince Henry.
Yeah, Megan.
When
Oh.
when you get into the role, you realize that maybe being a princess is not what I wanted because you have to realize what it comes with to be that. Just like a business owner.
Just like
I want to be a business owner, but I don't know what it comes with when it comes to the heartache, the anxiety, the lawsuits. So now when these young kids that get into the rap game, they want to be the star and they get into the room and say, hey, this is what has to happen. I mean, if you really want to be that person, and then they get their manhood extracted from them, not everybody, but some of them do, and they don't talk about it because they get what they want on the other end.
Well, Meek, because JayZ is also very close with Diddy, right? There's a lot of people that are like, "Where's Jay at right now?"
Very
He's
close, right?
Silent.
Hey, yo, no Diddy.
But look at look at who helped Meek out with his case.
Yeah,
It was-
JayZ got
it
him
was
out of
JayZ.
jail.
And what did
Jay-Z got
Kanye?
him out
By the
of
way,
jail.
what did Kanye say? What did Kanye West say about Meek Mill and Diddy? That they're CIs,
For sure, for
they're
sure.
informants.
Well, I mean,
Right? That's what he said. Remember that he's like, y'all want to talk tough? You guys are informants.
Yes,
you know,
he did.
right?
He did say
He
that.
did say that.
Well, maybe the price of freedom was his butt cheeks.
Oof.
What shall it profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul?
Let me just hit the oof button. for that one.
The light even turned on over there, bro. That was
you got
powerful.
very angelic on that one.
There's now that all this stuff's coming out about Diddy, like there's allegations of, when he was with Cassie, there's videos of him at interviews and stuff where she's just kind of sheltered. She came out when she was dating Diddy. She came out that she was sexually abused. She was, physically, mentally, verbally abused. But after they broke up, Kid Cudi and Cassie had like a friend's relationship, and she confirmed that Diddy may have had some part in Kid Cudi's car getting blown up after that. So that's jealousy and rage. Like if you're
This
talking,
dude has demons.
if you're
inside of
if you're
him.
counting like
he is a
sins,
demon.
if you're counting him like how many sins this guy's filled with, I would say he's filled with all sins.
What do you-
but here's go ahead.
I was gonna say, what do you guys think though? If you know how when somebody is gaining power and then all of a sudden they're at a level maybe a little too powerful, they got to be taken down. What do you playing devil's advocate? What do you think if
so
that's
I-
happening?
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about that, right? Is this just another Black Swan event, right? Is this a big distraction, right? What's a Black Swan event? It's an unpredictable event that becomes way more than what it was supposed to be, but it becomes a huge distraction also. And it's like, man, do they have us looking this way because they don't want us to look that way as something's going on? I always feel like I just can't even trust anything that happens anymore, right? I don't even know what's real.
Like what bills are they trying to pass? Like what
An even new perspective is for me as a young Black male. When you are a young adolescent that is African American in America, you aspire to watch people who are doing something that you desire to do or living the lifestyle you desire to live.
Right.
Well, you look at Kanye, then you look at Kyrie, then you look at everybody in these situations, Diddy, who were billionaires or multimillionaires or icons. And then you go deep into it and realize what he had to do to get to where he's at. And then you realize that he's not the ideal idol that you aspire to be. And every time a Black man does climb, I know that he's done some crazy, every time they do climb, you do have to knock him down. And I think what Diddy did, he poked the bear. He bit the hand that fed him. Ciroc, when he went after a $3 billion man,
He sued him now.
sued a $100 billion
Billion,
company, and they're going to come back with force. They have to. They're like, hey, we let
They'll
you
make
in.
an example, yeah.
We let you in. You came in. All you have to do was just be quiet. You didn't want to be quiet. So we have to give you what we do to everybody else. And then we're going to your house. We're going to take what we know can mess us up before it gets out to the public.
Oh, and put your kids in handcuffs.
so they can't
We
grab
have to.
what
Well,
the savior.
It's good for the eyes to see that you get spanked.
And real
Yeah,
quick,
family
by the
does
way, Cat Williams doesn't sound so crazy anymore, does he?
No.
All things will come to light in
Well, when
2024.
when you have eyes to see and ears to hear, right? And you can see some people. It was sickening for me to watch some of the comments, even on 50's post, because 50 is a
Oh,
troll.
he's trolling, bro.
But I would read some of the comments, and they're like, "This is just another. Why do we have black men tearing other black men down?" It's like, at what cost? So a pedophile could be fine, right?
shit.
So
Yeah.
a guy that is hurting women, and I'll take it even deeper. Just we're all fathers here, and it's like what I think about long term is Diddy. this is all, you know, tragic, weird, satanic, demonic, whatever you want to call it. But what about his children, right? Like, what about what his children have went through living in that house, what they might be going through right now, or maybe who they've turned into by
Because
the
of him.
influence of their dad. And we're not going to see that effect until another 10 years, probably.
Yeah.
Do you think that them watching what their dad had to do to build the empire is a reflection of what they possibly might have to do to build their own empire?
Ooh.
And they're watching, hey, is this what it takes to climb to the top of the top? Right.
But there's a lot of successful people that are not part of the club. I mean, how many times have we heard Ice Cube,
Yeah, Ice Cube.
right?
Yeah.
Ice Cube say, I'm not part of that club, man. And they, you know, they don't, this is why I got to fund my own movies. And this is why they blackballed me out of this and out of that,
Messing
right?
with them.
I mean, he's been saying this for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask y'all this, you know, because I grew up a huge JayZ fan, and then my sentiment, my connection, my emotion towards JayZ started to change. You and I connected so much.
That was the
early-
only reason we connected.
Yeah,
We didn't used
'cause
to
I
like
didn't
each
like
other.
See, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we connect. We went to watch the Throne together. We've seen JayZ maybe 4 or 5 different live events. We grew up huge JayZ fans because he brought a message of hope back in the day. Yes,
Correct.
And entrepreneurship.
entrepreneurship, hustle, hope, right? And now, you know, the last couple years, it feels dark on that side,
Yeah.
right? It just feels like he is also part of that club.
Well,
What do you guys think?
You got to think.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. Now that I'm just sitting here thinking about it, right? The first album JayZ put out, Reasonable Doubt, right? There's a song on there. I think it's called "The Evils," right? And part of the chorus is, "I never pray to God, I pray to Gotti," right? So even at then, and then recently, he did a verse with Rick Ross and them, one of those collaborations on DJ Khaled's
God
album.
did? God did?
And remember we were listening to it. And he was like,
He was the only guy that didn't
he was
give
the
God
only
the credit.
He was only the only guy that didn't even mention God in that.
He mentioned
he said-
himself
he said
as a
Hov
God.
did.
Yeah, Hove did.
Yeah.
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 Which is, and we look back at that and was like, man, that's
all this stuff is right in
Yeah.
front of our face, isn't it? But
Yeah.
like you said,
Mhm.
Garrett, if you want to repeat what you said earlier about
If you have eyes to see, ears to hear, and a mouth to speak, right? And so people are so ingrained with the programming that they put in front of them. And also, these are some people's heroes, right? Like you said, they gave a message of hope. But for me, you know, we have the Diddy, or not the Diddy, the Biggie and Tupac murder. And I think that if you want to pinpoint an event in history, because obviously I was just being born a couple years before this, but anybody that was in hip hop, this was there wasn't as much war going on. We weren't
started
really
it,
at war with Eastern cultures at that time. Like, so this was one of the biggest events, the East Coast, West Coast beefs in your guys' day and age, as you guys were growing up in high school and things like that. Like, that was a huge beef. And now you're seeing Keefe D.
Keefe D.
Keefe D is
Keefe D.
Awaiting trial, and he's went on record multiple times saying that, you know, Diddy was the one who paid him, and supposedly, allegedly, Diddy was so scared about how the beef was going on between Suge Knight, because every time Diddy came to California, Suge was looking for him. And so if you look at it, it's like, well, what are you gonna do? You have Biggie, and then you have Tupac. So I'm under the impression that when this event happened, I do believe that Diddy is the one that, you know, co-orchestrated this, because there's multiple people involved, right? It's not just Diddy. And when you're able to have the police, the FBI on your side to make this last for 20 plus years before an arrest is made, you have quite a bit of power at that point in time in 96.
So
All right.
his power is gone now?
Well,
Like, why'd they turn on him?
hold on, right? So, by the way, allegedly that was $1 million hit, supposedly from you know that Puffy or Puff Daddy put on Tupac, right?
Yeah.
Allegedly that was $1 million hit, and allegedly that $1 million was paid out,
Correct.
and allegedly
Where the
Keefe D
receipts?
never got it.
Well, and he
But
also did
but
Biggie
the other
as
guy
well.
got it.
Allegedly, he also ran the hit on Biggie as well. They're pretty much saying that it wasn't just Tupac, that he got rid of both of them.
Well, with the way that now, like, everything has come to light, and you really get to see this person's soul, right, and who he's been forever in front of our face.
Yep.
Right.
But we were always thinking like, been around the world, nah, right? Like we were always like looking at Diddy like the producer and the mogul that, the Ciroc guy. And he's always been this demon right in front of our faces. We just didn't have our spiritual lenses on.
Well, and also you couldn't go and get the information as easily as we can today, right? So in the 90s, it's like if you don't hear about it and you're not involved in the mix, you're probably not going to hear about it.
Yeah.
Right? To where now it's like TikTok's blowing it up, Twitter's blowing it up, Facebook, Instagram. So the access to information is at an all-time high. So time will either promote you or expose you. And right now you're getting exposed.
Say that again, please.
Time will either promote you or expose you.
And look, if certain men like to interact with other men, that is your business, right? That is your business. When it comes to kids, then it becomes everybody else's business.
Absolutely.
One thing I want to mention, going back to JayZ, is I saw this from his concert. He goes by Hova now, right? Jehovah.
I was guilty of it.
And what you see in the concerts when people raise their hand, right? And then what do you do in a church when you surrender, right? You surrender by lifting your hands and you're surrendering. So he said, everybody repeat after me. Hova.
Idol worship.
Hova.
Yeah,
and what you're giving yourself to him and making him the God.
Yeah.
And then he's absorbing that energy or that flow.
Wow.
But you said it a little while ago too, right? This has all been in front of our eyes. You can go back to, in this industry, in the music industry especially, you can go back to when Aaliyah was still alive. Aaliyah was 14, 15. R. Kelly had an open relationship that they discussed, and her album was Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. And if you can pull up the album cover.
Wow.
And tell me what you see. This is gonna be interesting.
I haven't even seen this.
You know who that is in the background?
No way. That's R. Kelly?
Wow.
Is that R. Kelly?
Yeah.
Arquetto.
Oh my
Guys,
R.
this
Kelly in
is
the background.
Plain sight.
Plain sight.
They're not
Age
hiding
ain't nothing
this.
but a number.
Well, he's
Wait,
blurry.
I
He's
never
blurry.
noticed that
Do
until
you-
right now.
Do you think that R. Kelly's sitting in there just waiting to see if he's going to get sold up with Diddy here soon?
I think R. Kelly, you know what? Guess what?
He might squeal.
I was going to tell you, man.
Looking for a little time off?
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You listen, for anybody out
He's
there.
knocking Warden.
Yeah. It's like, hey,
CO.
I
he's
want a
writing
deal.
kites every
right?
morning.
And like R. Kelly's like, I want a deal and I want immunity.
I want a deal and I'll squeal, baby.
Ooh,
Yeah.
hold on.
God.
Man.
Think about it, right? No, listen, for anybody out there that's listening, right, or watching, if you're doing some dirt and you think that your friends aren't going to rat on you, I got bad news for you. They're going to sing like a canary,
Yeah.
right? Because if it's their lives on the line or your life on the line, they're going to choose them, 10 times out of 10,
Yeah.
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the logical human response.
My
right?
brother to this day is the only human being that I've known to not rat somebody out. He went to prison and he did his time.
What I will tell you though is, and I told you this
But
a
the
couple
Reyes
weeks
is
ago.
we live we live under a different code.
Well, you have to remember, you can't be a rat if you're not in that street life, right? You're just a regular civilian. So to call civilian snitches is like it is idiotic because they don't live by that code. They're just civilians that decided to do some dirt. But when you see a real street dude and then they become a rat, that's like different, right? Because you've embodied that you're gonna live and die by this certain code.
Yep,
But
and
civilians,
he did.
and he did, right?
And he did.
And so, but civilians, they don't interact that way, right? So when you tell a civilian, hey, you can either go be incarcerated around a bunch of men for the next 20 years, or you can tell us what's going on and you can hang out with your wife and your kids at the pool here in another month. And logically, no civilian, regular person, day to day is going to say, nope, I'm going to ride for these people, right? It's like, kind of like the 6ix9ine issue. And everybody's like, oh, well, 6ix9ine's a rat. It's like, well, yeah, also the people in the gang were like having sex with this girl, putting him in like
beating him down, degrading him.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like you expect that guy to like not rat on
To
you.
be loyal
That's
to
just
you?
like common. It's common fucking sense,
Right.
But remember, common sense is the least common of the senses.
Oof. Hold on. So let me ask y'all this, right? Over now, there's been 3 decades of this stuff going on with Diddy, man, and he's even blamed allegedly for unaliving his ex-wife,
Kim.
the Kimberly Porter,
Yeah.
right?
And anybody that worked with
Has had 3 of Diddy's kids, and at 47, she died of pneumonia unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly.
Imagine
And a lot
what
of
she
people,
knew.
yeah, a lot of people. Oh well, Kimberly Porter was allegedly about to have publish. Kimberly Porter was about
Her
to
memoir.
publish a tell-all book.
Yep. She
Oh,
was.
wow.
And then all of a sudden, she gets unalived.
Mm.
So again, there is a history of 3 decades of this going on.
How much time?
And where there's smoke,
There's fire.
there's fire.
Yeah.
How much time out of all those allegations, the 3 decades, how much time did Diddy actually spend in jail?
0.
So if
you know
do
what's
it-
crazy?
if you get
Garrett?
away with it once, twice, 3 times, at some point you feel untouchable.
Bro, you know what's crazy, Garrett? You know, and going back to this, like the real street dudes out there,
Mhm.
not the rappers, because most of them, 99% of them claim to be street.
It's a facade.
right? It's a facade. They're more like as Eazy-E, R.I.P. back in the day, would call them
Exactly.
studio
Studio
gangsters,
gangsters.
right?
Correct.
My brother, right? My brother was facing 30 years, and you know what he told me? He didn't take the plea deal. He said, "Give me a good lawyer."
Say it in
Yeah.
Spanish. Say it in Spanish. What do you say?
What? Oh, in Spanish?
Yeah.
He said, I am un buen abogado.
Mm.
Boom. Give me a good lawyer, man.
Yeah.
Because again, there was this, he lived by a certain code, right?
Correct.
And that meant everything to him. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm not like, this is, for 30 years of my life, I've been this dude.
Mhm.
And I'm not about to change who I am for nobody.
Correct.
I mean,
You
he had
know?
all those hidden cameras in the house to make sure that his stack of blackmail for him to get access to things that at levels unprecedented.
You bring a great point. Here we go. A lot of people are saying, including Candace Owens, including Suge Knight, they're saying that wasn't a raid. That was a raid ordered by the top to try to find what Diddy has on all of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Candace Owens
Hold
said,
on. Ooh.
Candace Owens said they're not going in to hide it. They're not going in to find evidence. They're going in to hide evidence.
Candace Owens she's different.
She's on
man.
fire.
And just
Shout out to Candace.
shout out to Candace. I'm just gonna say this, and my wife knows this. I think she's hot. I think she's attractive. And I say that as a married man, right? Respectfully. She's a beautiful woman inside out.
She's sharp.
Yeah.
She's articulate. She gives people her point of view on things that makes so much sense. And when she says it, it's so sharp and articulate. And Kansas, after she left the Daily Wire, which is a whole different dilemma.
Candace.
Left or got canned?
A lot of things are happening because
That's a whole
they
different
actually
topic
just
for a
interviewed.
whole different
Yeah,
podcast.
Yeah. I
We
wouldn't even go
can't,
there.
we had me and Phil were talking about that the other day.
He threw that
too. It's like-
So
anti-Semite
I
shit
got
on
a
her,
couple
bro.
questions, by the way, right? Diddy, he recently lost over 18 brand partnerships due to all the allegations that are coming out, right? But this is what I wanted to ask you, going back to your point. Did the elite, did the guys or the people at the top finally just turn on him? They're like, man, we can't. You guys ever seen Training Day
Yeah.
Yeah.
with Denzel Washington?
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember
of
the
course.
3 wise or the 4 wise men or the 3 wise men?
Yeah.
3.
Eventually they turn on him.
Yeah.
Eventually they turn on
Yeah.
Denzel, right? They're like, this dude's he's too sloppy. He's too sloppy.
Yeah.
We constantly have to bail this dude out.
Which usually happens the higher and higher you get.
And well, not only that, but
Yeah.
your ego and that power and that pride, right? You're like, oh, they'll bail me out. I am that dude.
You know
right?
what it
I am
reminds
him.
me of?
King Kong
I am
ain't got
King Kong.
shit
Exactly.
on
Well,
me.
apparently they did.
You know what it reminds me of? And I love just studying mob history and mafia because there's a lot of principles that are very valuable just for war strategies and just for society as a whole. They are very honorable in their own communities.
And operating as an organization.
Correct. And what it reminds me of is one of the most infamous mafia dons, which was John Gotti, right?
Mhm.
And John Gotti, I mean, he went to court multiple times, was beating multiple murders. And he was like, when it comes to being a mafia don, he was everything the opposite. He was loud. He would
Yeah.
walk around
He was a star.
He was a
Yeah,
star.
he
He would
was-
walk. People
was.
literally treated him like a A-list celebrity movie star. And so it just reminds me of that scenario And the same thing for Diddy, because when you do get that powerful, you do think you're untouchable. You've had so many close calls. I mean, look, we just went through the Rolling Stone article for the last 20 years, and he's escaped unscathed every single time.
I mean, power corrupts absolute. Just today, there was an article that said Sam Bankman-Fried is only in 25 years for losing investors billions of dollars, and he only gets 25 years.
And I don't even think if he'll even do the 25.
He won't even do
He'll
25,
do like 12 and a
Country
half.
club.
Yeah.
So the point of the story is, at the end of the day, capitalism, power, money, if you don't become wealthy, then you can't really get protected. And if you do have money and you have no power, then you just still don't have no leverage.
But this is just the tip of the iceberg as well, too, right? Because ultimately, what he's being accused of is child sex trafficking, sexual assault. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We're just talking about one individual right here, right? And then this documentary just came out recently about the Nickelodeon documentary that gets into a whole different level, a whole different side, a whole different genre, a whole different culture, right? This is the hip hop
Let's
culture.
talk about that. Let's talk about that. Before everybody's always talking about the culture, right? They're always talking about the culture. And everybody's so, they're so proud or prideful when it comes to the culture. But what exactly is the culture in the hip hop / rap community? And there's I would say there's over 100 million people that follow the culture, that want to be a part of the culture, that take pride in the culture, that form their entire identity based off the culture. And then again, what is the culture about, right? What are they preaching? What are these rappers preaching about that are leading the culture, including the podcast?
And who are they preaching to? Who are they talking to? Who are they feeding? And what message does the people at the top that are the puppet masters tell them to say to the people to feed the kids so that they can react according to what they want?
I mean, the rappers aren't the ones coming up with what to talk about. Like you were saying, the record executives are telling them to pump the poison into the community, and then they're getting money in exchange for selling out the people.
Well, not only that, right? They're getting the commands from above, right?
Or below.
I don't. Okay. Oh, I get it. but right. Think about it. You'll have one rapper who is mediocre at best, but he says the things that the people up top want him to say.
Yeah.
Right. Unalive this person.
Yeah.
Have sex with this person,
Right.
blah, 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 right? And then that dude just explodes, and then you'll have the lyricists like a Nas, right, or a J. Cole,
Wu-Tang,
right?
Wu-Tang is for the children.
Yeah, they're talking about the right things.
Correct.
That's what the culture used to be. The culture used to be about the struggle. Now the culture is about what? Materialism, pride, ego, banging of the chest. Right?
Yeah, suppressing the people.
Well, I think that's why distribution companies became so popular, because now you don't need major labels to put out your music anymore. So that really affected things tremendously from an artist standpoint, because now you don't have to rely on JayZ or Diddy or Interscope or any of these people allowing you to drop something. You could drop whatever you want.
But they're not going to play those songs on the radio.
Well,
Correct.
1,000%.
It hindered it as well too, right? It's a catch-22 because now you have these streaming services that are owned by a JayZ, which Tidal, right? He can decide what music is played on there and what's not at the end of the day.
Well,
when Tidal, if you watch when Tidal actually formed, I remember watching this. Pull up the Tidal launch, and just look at the individuals that were a part of that launch and like it was, bro,
Tidal.
Tidal.
Tidal music launch. See that picture right there? If you can see, it should be JayZ, like those individuals. JayZ, Lady Gaga was in there. There's huge stars in there that all sided with JayZ to launch this thing, right? And each one of those individuals are probably at the pinnacle of their said genres. So how do you get to the masses? You take the cream of the crop, the top of them. You tell them what to say, what to play, and how to sound, and then you feed it to the
look
children.
at their names: Lil Baby, Lil Durk, Pooh Shiesty,
Little Yachty.
Pope No, Pop Smoke.
6ix9ine.
6ix9ine.
Pooh Shiesty was crazy when you said that at dinner, because then I just immediately, now that I've heard the Meek Mill audio, I'm just thinking Pooh Shiesty, and all I can see is Diddy just Pooh Shiestying it up.
What about
Wow.
what about Lil Pump?
Lil Pump.
Little Pump.
Yeah,
Little Red.
Lil Red.
Right, hold on. Here, watch this.
That's
All
the
right,
culture.
have you guys heard that song that's really popular? It's been popular for a while now. It's called "Turn Your Click Up."
Mhm.
Right, turn your click up, dog. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Watch this. Ready? Watch some of these lyrics. This is Future coming in. Right, he's coming in. Ready?
Spit that.
He says, "Standing on business, standing on itches." Right? Ain't nothing to pipe that up. Ain't nothing to turn itch up. Ain't nothing to turn your click up. He says, shit, we turned the jeweler up. Just look at the diamonds, right? Look at the people we touch. I'm feeling like Puffy and Ross. Hold on.
Yeah.
Brother, in what is that called? What do you call those lyrics? Bars. Not bars, but
16s.
No, it's four bar cadences. Yeah.
yeah.
Bars.
Just in that little segment,
he's a rapper.
you're talking about women and like degrading them and I got daughters. You know what I mean? You're talking about materialism, spending your money on jewelry, stupid things.
Yeah.
Right? You're talking about Puff, being like Puff. Well, if you want to be like Puff, see, if you look at Future, right, and you look at his history and the way he treats not only his children, but the way he treats Ciara, right, constantly just bagging on her, and then the way he goes after Russell Wilson, that took over as the man, as the father, and of Future's children, he's constantly going at him.
Scottie Pippen's
right?
wife.
You see what I'm saying?
How
It's flip-flops.
disgusting it is for the youth to honor these men and respect them too. I mean, Future literally sent a message to his son saying, "Your mom's a hoe."
But
Right?
that's what I'm saying. Is this the culture though?
I know
And
it's
then,
not-
hold on. And then you got all these podcasts, syndicated shows after promoting, right? Think of the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Who's that ran by? Revolt.
Mm.
Who is Revolt owned by? Puffy.
Was.
He just sold it in the last 20.
Yeah, the
But
owner
look
is
at that,
silent.
right? So now it's coming at you through syndicated shows. It's coming at you through music. It's coming at you through freaking movies in Hollywood. It's coming at you through programming, which we're about to move into, Nickelodeon, that we did not know anything about. Like the programming and the subliminal things that were happening in a show, or they're not a show, they're a company,
comedy.
right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nickelodeon, which
yeah.
means what?
It's
What
even, it's even, I want to get a little bit deeper right before you transition. The parents, kids, everyone listening needs to know this, is that inside of the music, they put their ingredients, which is the frequency. So we listen to the lyrics. You mask the lyrics with a beat or with a cadence. This is called hypnotic rhythm, right? How you get somebody to be in a trance,
Right.
you put them in that rhythm and that flow, and you make that frequency addictive to the mind. When they go to sleep, they sing the song. When they wake up, they sing the song. And it's catchy. When something is catchy, if you look at the brain, the way the brain works to memorize lyrics or memorize anything, it has to be in a cadence. So we're working against frequencies. We're working with a formula that they know how to put together to make sure that that song gets spread like wildfire and everyone is singing it in cadence.
Also-
So now you're working against like nature.
Also, what they do is, I mean, I know Cash Money did this with Lil Wayne, with Nicki Minaj, with Drake. When an album is released, they'll buy albums to get it to platinum. So now it's a platinum album, right? But they've bought all of the copies. Now it's platinum. Now everyone else kind of gets into it, because why wouldn't you want to buy a platinum album? It's hot. We need to get it. Oh, everyone's talking about it.
The kids are talking about it. Everyone's sharing the songs at school, and everyone's like, "Well, I love the beat." I said that. I love the beat. I love the rhythm. Not realizing what the words are saying and what it's doing to the programming of myself.
That's why I miss Tupac, bro. Tupac would spit game. He would only spit knowledge.
Well, there was a few songs like "How Do You Want It?
Mhm.
How Does It Feel?" Ah, okay. There, again, but that
Brenda's
was his
got a
wild
baby.
side, right?
Brenda's got a baby.
Yeah, that was his wild side.
Nickelodeon, though.
But
My God.
before we get into
By the way,
Nickelodeon,
I wore my Wu-Tang socks today.
good for you. Good for you.
Nickelodeon.
Good for
bro.
you.
Jeez. This
Before
is
we
a
transition to
shitstorm, bro.
Nickelodeon,
I want to continue to talk about something. By the way, I want to continue to talk about all the haters out there and I'm just going to call them stupid people, because I've gotten so many messages about, hey man, why are you guys talking about these events and these surface level events? Hey, stupid, you clearly aren't watching or listening to this show, because we're breaking down these events 10 levels deep.
Yeah,
Why
you aren't
aren't you worried about
You
these
know what I mean?
events?
Like, listen, come watch or listen to this show and then come at me. It's almost like I got one of my ex-mentees, God bless him, good dude, but he goes, hey man, like I look up to you. Why do you have a picture of Drake beating his meat? I said, did you watch the show? He's like, no, I haven't watched the show yet. I said, go watch the show and then DM me.
Yeah.
Get awakened.
Ooh, hold on. Ooh. Before you come at me on the surface level crap, listen or watch this show and then DM me and then form your opinion.
Oh, the
Yes.
Vato came out, bro. You
That's
gotta
right.
say, some emotions.
That was the spirit of his brother coming in.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And the spirit of my brother lives inside of me.
Yes, he does.
Right. I was told by one of my spiritual mentors that when he passed, part of his spirit came into me, and I feel that, and I honor that.
Yeah.
Every
And
day.
he lives
1,000%.
life
Just
through
like
you.
I honor you four as brothers in arms.
Well, I
Still,
told
bro.
you
Appreciate
that that was what helped me with my brother's death, is because I felt like his spirit came inside of me.
Yeah.
Which gave me life, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and same thing to talk about spirits, to go even deeper, to transition into the Nickelodeon stuff. Look at these child stars that we all look at and we're like, wow, Orlando Brown is crazy. Amanda Bynes, oh my gosh, look what the Fame did. Was it the Fame, or was
What
it
the
the
trauma?
molestation? Was it
Yeah.
the sexual abuse?
Yeah, bro.
Was it putting a
Yeah.
kid on
Right.
camera for 13 hours to 16 hours a day on production sites? Like, these are children. Imagine our children, 6,
That's
12,
nuts, bro.
13, 14 years old. You're on these sets. These are sets where grown adults are at all day long.
I put that on the parents though, bro. If you're
absolutely.
not gonna be by your kid in that type of world, you're a fucking idiot.
Well, I don't
I
even
remember-
think
let me-
it's not that they weren't by them. It's
they
you'll
try
do
to-
anything for money.
I'll-
Most people will do anything for a dollar.
I'll tell you this. I remember because I was a child actor. I was in Pepsi commercial, JC
Were you
Penney.
really?
Yeah,
Damn.
Super Lotto. I was
Oh
in
my
with
God.
Shaq.
Damn,
So,
daddy.
that's not a
Damn,
flex.
that's
That's
not a
not a
flex.
flex.
You earned
No
it.
Diddy.
You earned it, daddy. No Diddy. No Diddy.
So check
No
this out.
Diddy.
So
No
when I
Diddy.
was gonna go on audition. My manager booked it. My agent booked it. I was kind of a shoe-in. They wanted me. So it was. I don't know if you guys
What
remember
size
the
what
Lyle.
size shoe were you wearing back then?
9.5
The
always,
same
all
shoe
day,
you're
bro,
wearing,
all day.
The same
9.5.
shoe size you're wearing now?
So, you guys remember the Lyle and Eric Menendez, the Menendez brothers?
Yeah.
They were like molested by their dad, and then they killed them.
Yeah.
So I was essentially going to be in this HBO special. I was going to be in it. And my dad knew about the trial. He goes, you're not doing that shit. You're not going to be in that movie. So he prevented me from going. Being young, I'm thinking, I'm like, why? Oh, this is bad, Dad. Why are you not doing this? But he was getting my back
Yeah.
because what scene would I have been in? Thinking
Yeah.
I'm acting. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
What kind of programming would I have been indoctrinated with?
You would have had to go
if I
through
was
the
in
motion.
that.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know
I
what
don't
you
know,
don't
no.
know.
But as a kid, you aspire to be the people that are doing the things that you want to do. You're like, oh, they're so cool. They're on TV. They get the limelight. They get so much attention. And you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Even today, there are probably kid shows where things are happening that we're not aware of. We'll hear about it another 5, 10, 15 years. That's happening today, right now, behind the scenes, because YouTube's coming up. The subscription channels are coming up. Disney's popping up. And we don't know what's happening behind the scenes to make this grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, go ahead.
It's like we said, you know, there's a whole can of worms that's just been opened up over this past 2 weeks with all of this. The transition, I mean, you can see once again, it was right in front of our eyes. Go to that clip of Diddy on the Nickelodeon show.
Yeah.
Check this out.
What would P. Diddy do?
Oh, what would P. Diddy do?
No, I don't know. Hey, let's ask him. Oh, okay.
What do you think the P stands for?
P. Diddy?
What's up?
We can't wake up Shane.
You try symbols?
Yep.
What about sour milk?
Didn't work.
Tell you what. Take this toy helicopter. Put it down his pants.
All right, we'll do it. We'll do.
Like,
What?
I just started
No,
cold.
no,
I
no,
would
no.
never tell any child to
no,
put anything down
playing, 'cause
somebody's
it's-
pants.
It's
Keep
gonna
playing,
show, yeah,
keep playing.
keep playing, keep playing.
Is more?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Will do. Come on, put it in.
Bro, the kid just
Nothing.
to another kid.
Didn't work. He's still asleep.
was he drinking adrenochrome?
Try this.
Will you give him a remote?
Yeah.
Shall I?
He popped the molly
By
in
all
his drink.
means.
It sounds like the Meek Mill audio, bro.
So this was played for us kids.
This is what we grew up on. These are the types of shows that we grew up on. And transitioning into the whole Nickelodeon stuff, and not even Nickelodeon, it's just quite on the set. Nickelodeon is the scapegoat right now, but it's across Nickelodeon, the Disney Channel as well too. There's child stars from the Disney Channel that are screwed up just as bad, and it even goes beyond that. It goes from the times when the two Corys were, stars.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman and what was the other?
Corey Haim.
Corey Haim.
Goonies?
Yeah, Goonies.
Corey Feldman? Yeah.
These,
That poor soul.
once again, it goes back to what Phil
he
was
alive?
saying. Corey Feldman
One
is
of them,
Corey
yeah.
Haim.
Corey and not
Suicide, right?
Yeah.
Suicide.
You mean he unalived himself?
Unalived himself. Yep.
But going back to what Phil said, these kids they had to create child labor laws specifically for the Hollywood industry because they're sitting on set, they're getting schooled there, their lives are on set now. And that
And your boy Dan Schneider is sniffing on him.
your boy Dan Schneider sniffing on him.
Very
He's
much
sniffing
so.
on him.
I mean, but if you look at the
He's
history,
groping on him.
the history of Nickelodeon, how it started, it was supposed to be a program to help develop the cognitive function of kids. It was a network. There
great.
was no commercials in the 70s. Well, in the 80s,
Oh, they developed the cognitive function
By
of
the
kids,
2000s,
but in
after
the
they-
wrong with the wrong in the wrong direction.
Absolutely, but they had adults that ran the scripts. But it wasn't until you had Teen Nick, right? You had Nicktoons, and you had all these characters, Dora the Explorer. You had Blue's Clues. You had Degrassi in the 2000s that Nickelodeon owned.
Oh, Drake was he came up on Nickelodeon,
He was
right?
groomed by
Makes sense.
Nickelodeon.
No.
Now it makes sense.
Look at this
Well-
stuff, bro.
Ariana Grande. Play that clip with Ariana Grande and the potato in the water. This was all happening. We had no clue.
Well, because remember, kids
this.
don't
What?
sexualize
Look at
things.
this.
It's not possible.
Oh,
Bro, we
Dan,
can't e-
what do you think
probably
Dan
can't even
Schneider?
show
Wait, what do you
this.
think Dan Schneider was doing when this was happening on the set?
Oh, he was salivating.
How many parents are aware
wow.
that this is happening or that this has happened? How many have watched even the documentary about this?
And-
What does
bro-
Nickelodeon mean? The translation you were saying something
Latin.
like
In Latin, the Nickelodeon comes from the term "I hate God" or "I dislike God." If you break it down in Latin terms, but how they first created it was Nickelodeon derived from the fact that when you have dollar movie theaters, it came from the nickel movie theater, so Nickelodeon, and then now it's transversed into something deeper, which that's what they do when it comes to words. They find people that know how to put these chemicals of words together that mean something that we wouldn't understand unless we did the work to go find it.
People forget the English language is one of the newest languages, right? And it's also they call it one of the dumbest languages, right?
Facts.
Because we say things that are super low frequency. I mean, how many people were, I love Nickelodeon. So you're quite literally
Wow.
saying, I don't care about God every time you said I love Nickelodeon.
Well, there's spells. Right?
I
That's
love
what's called
not caring
spelling.
about God.
I never watch Nickelodeon. Praise God. But
You never watched Ren and Stimpy?
I had to follow it with that.
He's all, thank God I didn't do that.
Yeah.
You didn't watch Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah, Hey Dude. You
Doug?
didn't watch Hey Dude?
No, I don't
Doug?
even know what that is.
Doug.
Degrassi.
I like Doug.
You watched
No,
Degrassi?
absolutely not.
Rocko's
Well, you-
Modern Life.
Rocko's
Nope.
Modern Life.
Nope.
Yeah.
You
No.
guys saw. I mean,
Rugrats?
for those that
Yeah, I did watch
the-
Rugrats.
Yeah, Rugrats
Guilty.
was Nickelodeon.
Guilty.
You watched the two women writers that were, the first ones with Dan Schneider, and day one or first couple weeks with them, he would say things like, "Are the ladies in the room?" Right, and it's implying, "Are the ladies in the room?" Because you're probably gonna say some shit that's fucked up. So when you see this, and this is such at a mass scale, you're able, it's the same thing as Diddy, like you're able to shut these people up, send them with lawsuits, make sure that they never work in the industry again. So
NDAs.
yeah, well, and these people, remember, some people have dreamed and worked their whole life to get to this point, to work on a network like this. And so self-preservation, right? They're trying to preserve what they've worked for. And so maybe that also stopped people from coming forward, because they are also indoctrinated that if they do this, they're going to risk their whole career. And a lot of people did risk their whole career, right? Because I think one of the ladies actually filed a lawsuit against him, and I'm pretty sure nothing really happened to her at all.
Well, let's look at the etymology of Hollywood. Hollywood comes back from the hollow tree. Hollow tree comes back from, in a book, it talks about how witches have their wand. The hollow tree, they use the hollow tree as the wand to cast spells.
Right.
And that's why you have Halloween. And they've been programming us since the beginning, and Hollywood is the forefront of using etymologies, engraving it into the minds of people and words and symbols and signs that we don't even know what's happening. We just see the aftermath.
Well, back to what you said, Garret, where you said, the people, these kids and actors and celebrities and music artists, right? They want to achieve their dreams so bad, that they're willing to sacrifice everything, including their soul. And what's crazy, and it's not crazy, what's beautiful is that biblically, right, the Bible tells us about these type of situations and encountering these situations before we ever actually encounter this type of situation. Matthew 16:26, what does it say? What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? Right. You see what I'm saying? So if you have to go through and endure, getting your cheeks clapped by a Puff Daddy just to become a famous rapper, take that. That's probably what he was saying when he was smacking those cheeks, right? Then at that point, you're giving up your soul.
Yeah.
You're giving up your soul.
I have this belief, and
Well, it's
you
not.
could either resonate with it or not, but this belief that I have is that your soul, when you do sell your soul, there's a contractual agreement for your soul, and somebody owns it. Just like you see with Tupac, how they do the holographic shows now, they're still selling his soul, selling the rights to this person. So when you sell your soul, I believe, because energy is neither created nor destroyed, your soul is an energetic force that transfers into whatever your next lifetime is, and you are still bound by that contract that you signed many lifetimes ago.
Well, I just thought of this though. Well, we need to give him a oof before I
Hold
talk
on.
though, bro. That was
I never thought about
give the
that.
man the respect.
That was a good, bro. That was a.
But I was gonna say, Jesus died
Yeshua.
to save
Yeshua.
Yeshua died to save our soul. So technically, do we even have our soul to be able to sign it off? Because it's
Our parents
really
signed
not
it off.
ours.
Our parents signed it off. That's why they call it pair rents. It's a pair that rents. Because when you
Ooh,
when
hold
you-
on.
when you-
Go ahead.
when-
Go ahead, King.
Go ahead, Phil.
Nah, that was fire.
Go ahead, Pastor Phil.
So
Go
Could you,
ahead,
could
Pastor
you imagine
Phil.
what happened to my life just living with Phil for like 8 months?
You
I
got
mean, this is
smarter by
what
osmosis.
me and Phil would talk like this until midnight every single night. So
I
go off.
have a book called Word Magic, and I started reading about these. They call it the dark magicians that create words that we don't know about. And I read the word about birth, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but
Too late.
birth and birth, they're spelt the same, but they're phonetically different. Birth, B-I-R-T-H, and B-E-R-T-H, they both have to do with a ship docking. And it has to do with us being birthed as human beings. So when a woman gives birth to a child, it goes through the birth canal as a ship goes through a canal. And when the baby comes out, it sees the doctor. And what does the ship do when it comes into the
dock.
It touches the dock. And then Tor, right? And T-O-R means somebody that does something for an exchange of currency. But Tor also means at the bottom of the ship when you're touring the ship. So when the goods, the packages, the people, or the baby comes out, it's given to the parents, right? The pair that rents you. And then when you sign the contract over, because you now give it back to the government and they legally own your vessel, right? It's a package that they own. And then they wait till you're 18 to then you go work for a corporation and then you give your body back to the system.
Hold on. Ooh. So apparently, so now, right? These children stars gone crazy or gone bad don't seem so crazy, right? Aaron Carter, Britney Spears, Corey Feldman, Macaulay Culkin, Justin Bieber, Orlando Brown. The list goes on and on and on. They
Yeah.
don't seem so crazy now.
No.
But why did it take us decades, right, to really start digging just a little bit, like you said, it's the tip of the iceberg right now.
We're
The
still not even
access to
there.
information. Remember, like the internet really just took off over the last 10 to 15 years. So, I mean, we had the internet in the early 2000s, but it was still so new. People,
It wasn't used like
it wasn't used the way it's used today. It's
100%.
like that's also why sales is different, right? Like the old way of selling does
Yeah,
not
ain't gonna
work
work.
because you can't pressure people, high pressure tactics no more, because people can just go Google and see if what you're saying is true or not.
Mhm.
So it's not that people didn't know, it's that people weren't receiving information at such a high level that we are now. So you are, and let's also be reminded, 2001, I mean, when we went to war, that's really all we focused on for the next like 10, 15 years was war, right? So what are you going to think about? Are you going to think about the child star who people are probably envious of, right? People were probably envious of Britney Spears, Aaron Carter, Drake and Josh Bell, like all these people. So when they hear it, they're like, oh, look at another child star. They just got spoiled. They were probably doing drugs and, you know, they threw it all away when really it's like, well, why were they doing drugs? Right? Why were they feeling the need to go to all these parties?
They don't look at the root cause.
Correct.
Do you think the
Right.
parents know and they just look at the paychecks and say, well, I mean,
Well, what's that kid, Ryan, the big multimillionaire kid?
Oh, the YouTuber?
Ryan something.
Garcia?
No,
Oh,
the
no.
YouTuber. you're saying, the young kid.
right. Ryan's toy review.
Ryan's toy review, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine being that age and just like your whole life is consumed?
You are your parents' income.
Yeah.
You are your
that's
parent.
nuts.
Your kid pays the mortgage. So what are those parents doing? Those parents, hey, we're paying the bills. We have the house we always wanted.
You're not even living a real life though, because I watched just a little bit of that whole Ryan's toy review, and now you got the parents. They're part of the play.
Correct.
That's what it is. It's just a big old
Correct.
play, you know.
yeah.
It's like at that point you're not even a real person. You're just you're a full-time actor.
Well, and to go back into the importance of the people that tell you, well, we came to your page to listen about business. It's like, well, number one, for those that don't know, for the viewers, you guys can always DM Carlos. He has an amazing team here that will get you guys signed up for a business boot camp at any point in time.
Or a business consulting call, no
or
charge.
consulting.
No
But
charge.
if we continue down the same road, we get the same result. Right. And so if we don't talk about these things, if we don't bring light to the situation, if we don't find solutions to the issues and the problems at hand, whether that be creating new networks, whether that be creating platforms for people to speak truth and light and harmony and love, then we are quite literally just going to keep repeating the same cycles.
Well, look what happened with Andy Frisella, right? Look at the history of Andy Frisella. You know, I started following Andy Frisella maybe 2012. And he had the MFCEO project, you know, over a decade ago, right?
Yeah.
And then the last couple of years, what did he turn that podcast, which was the #1 podcast in the entrepreneur space
For sure.
for a decade,
Yeah.
right? It turned into what? Real AF. And then what did he start to talk about?
Politics.
The spiritual war,
The spiritual
right?
war, yeah.
Like good versus evil, you know, not only at the political level, but at every level.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of, I think at some point he's like, hey man, okay, I gotta put in my part, right? And there's very few people in the social media space and the influencer space that are willing to do what we're doing because, oh, it might cost us some business.
Yeah.
Right? We might not make another dollar because this person doesn't agree with our perspective. We're just trying to shine light on what's going on in the world, what has always been going on in the world. And if that costs me $1, hey, I still got my soul.
We have to
For sure.
remind people that the most precious commodity that's being sold in the market is people. Just recently, the movie came out about the sex trafficking and what's the movie called? Freedom of the
Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom.
No.
So that movie came out to just kick off and start the bubble about, okay, what's really going on in Hollywood? And people started to say, well, if they're speaking, I should speak. Well, this Cascade event has now gone on to realize that before us, after us, they will continue to sell people as a commodity, whether that be your attention, whether that be you physically in the sex trafficking rings. And people don't like to hear the hard truth. And the reason why we bring it to light is because it's been left in the darkness for so long. And if after we pass, if someone doesn't watch us and get inspired by what we're saying and what we're doing and say, hey, I like these guys. I like what they're saying and what they're doing. I want to double down on what they're saying. I want to be a part of their tribe. That's what we're
Because
doing.
they stand for truth
Yeah.
and they stand for light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Right?
think
And you're
that I think that men that don't stand with rigorous principles are some of the weakest forms of men.
And there's a lot of those out there that claim to have principles, but they're just chasing the next dollar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One of my spiritual mentors said something really important to me. It was a question. He said, when you die and you're before God, and God asks you, what did you do with the gifts that I gave you? What are you going to say?
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
But that always stuck with me. You know,
Yeah.
that's like every move you make, just you got to explain it later, man.
You,
And
you
just-
disrespect God by not using your gifts.
And just to
Yeah.
wrap it up, were you going to say something, by the way?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was just going into because we're talking about like from our perspective, because I went on the other side as well too, right? And I watched Dan Schneider actually came out with an interview at post this docuseries that came out.
Mm-hmm.
And he made somewhat of a valid point. I mean, coming from him, he came out unscathed, but he was saying what's happening now is we're looking at it now from adult perspectives, right? And shows that were made for children by children, right? And so we were looking at it that perspective. So some people can say, oh, well, you guys are looking back at it at a different way, but even you got to look at it from the kids' perspective. I read the Jeanette McCurdy book, right? She was one of the first ones that came out and talked about this whole stuff. The book is called I'm Glad My Mother Died or something like that. And her perspective was, I was a child star, and the entire, like he was saying, the entire financial dependency was on me as a child star.
Mm.
And so if I felt like I didn't want to do something, my mother was here as like, hey, it's your responsibility. Your family depends on you going to do that regardless. For you, if you your back was for the first half of the year, first month of the year, you couldn't even get out of bed.
Mm-mm.
Right? But what? You still showed up. Why? Because there was a huge financial dependency on you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard as an adult. Could you imagine that as a child, having to go through that as a child
Wow.
with the entire dependency of your financial, your generational wealth depends on you. And if somebody tells you have to get into a hot tub with a grown ass man with his clothes on,
Or
then-
spray water all over your face.
or spray water all over your face, or
As you're
take
on
a
a
goose
bed,
shot
yeah.
on the face that's supposed to be funny, but it's coming from in the perspective of a man that's writing everything to tell you what to do. Like, that's a hard responsibility to have.
Yeah.
I agree.
So just to wrap it up, what happens moving forward with Diddy? My question is, does he throw everybody under the bus? Or, right, they just make an example out of him and Epstein him?
Or nothing happens.
Yeah, I think he'll, if you watch what happens every time, it's usually unalived, right? So, if Diddy's smart, and
How come people think we're conspiracy theorists though? When someone comes up missing, right, that's going up against certain people and they get unalived, they just
well,
they just
remember,
move on.
No
I
evidence,
told you this
that's
on the
why.
last podcast. Skepticism is a sign of intelligence. So you have to ask yourself, if you're not a skeptic, you probably lack intelligence. And that's kind of a hard pill to swallow, but maybe you should pray to God and ask him for guidance and eyes to see the truth. And I'm not here to say what the truth is. I'm just here to see what God shows me the truth to be.
And at the end of the day, don't trust us, right? Go out and seek for yourself. Seek truth for yourself. All we're doing is we're the activators. We're the one that says, hey, this is what we see. What is your perception? What's your opinion? To discuss it and bring it to light. And now it's your job not to just question us. Please question everybody's statements and opinions. Don't take it as face value. But with Diddy, there's a domino effect that's going to happen going into the election year. Something's bubbling up that we can't yet see. But with what's happening with Diddy, the elite are being exposed at a high level. And the elite are now looking at each other saying, who do I trust? Or who can I trust? Or who can we trust, right? Who's still in my circle? Because we got to get back to the Bloods versus Crips. But what's happening is that people inside each gang are now bouncing to each other's side and sharing secrets. So with the Diddy situation, I do think going into this next month, 2 months, we're going to hear stories about people and things that we've never thought, just like we have recently. Movies will drop.
Just like we did with Epstein.
More podcasts will drop, and I think somebody will be silenced. I don't know in what way, but I think multiple people will be silenced.
Yeah.
Well, and just to wrap it up, I mean, back to what you just said, if you know, if this show and our voice and our platform is just the activator, right? Then we're doing our job.
Yes.
Because what did Tupac say, right before he passed, when he says, hey, he literally said this, I'm not saying I'm going to change the world. Right. He said, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world.
That's right. Facts.
Ooh. Until next time, be safe.